Yo, what's going on? This is the NRW Nerds. Rule the world, it's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, the Adobro, the Babinka boy, the leader of the Holla Holla homies and the Center gang of the ShoPowSho. And we are back again celebrating AAPI Heritage Month. Yes, we are here and we just have a slew of episodes dropping, so much content. So I hope you all tune in. Unfortunately, with today's recording, though, the amazing Ates couldn't be with me to celebrate our special guests, but they send our love. So shout out to Viva Valentina over at the Stuffy Spa, killing it over there, and as well as Kataphorric, as you know, who hasn't been with us all year because she's over in Japan teaching, spreading knowledge. So mad love to the both of them. But we have a special guest, and I'm so excited. I got so much love for Toronto. We've had so many guests. Shout out to Amira over there. What's her firm? Project. Man, I'm messing up my love to Amira right now. Project 4 PR. Got none but love for Amira, who's just been helping us out. And but Toronto just gives us so much love. And I wish I was there because there's this amazing new series on CBC called Topline. It's streaming now. So when you're done watching this, head over there, check out all the episodes. But I got the man behind that, Romeo Candido. I'm gonna show you the trailer right now for Topline, which is gonna make you just like, oh damn, I need to tune in. And then you'll watch the trailer, and then I'll have my conversation with Romeo Candido. So check it out right now, the trailer for Topline. Here we go.
This thing on?
It's on. Recording.
Can you put your life on the top line? My name is Tala. Online, you might know me as Alicia.
Like cotton candy, Alicia?
Your heart and your harmony.
You do know what a top line does, right?
The people who write the lyrics and hooks and melody for a song. The people behind the hits.
The people responsible for the hits.
Can you auto-tune all your mistakes?
If Dad finds out you're working on music.
Girls, what are you doing making all that noise?
Nothing, Pa! Put that reverb or delay. Make it sound better. Forget your heartache. When my mom passed, life as I knew it changed. Forever.
You know the story about Chicken Little.
The sky is falling.
You have a gift, Tala, just like your mama.
It's bad enough that Mom's gone and now you're gone too.
That's the best thing about Toplining. We get to make up life.
This is like a dream job.
You know why it's called dream job? Because it's a fantasy. Don't know you anymore.
Baby, please wake up. The sky is falling down.
If you step out that door, Tala, then you are choosing yourself over your family.
Then I choose me.
Wait, do they call you Alicia over there?
Kind of. I met Eliana.
The Eliana.
We have a multitude of selves within us. Which one are you gonna let shine?
Tell them who you are.
You know you're better than garbage detail. Believe that.
You're really funny.
You remind me of him. Hopeful.
But I found music. Or maybe music found me. And if there's one thing I know, music is life. I was going to tell you.
But you didn't.
I am the
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Topline. And as you see on the screen, I have the man himself, Mr. Romeo Candido. So excited. Man, love to Toronto right now, bringing it.
Yes.
Y'all are just killing it. Can I just say that? Like, shout out to my girl Izzy Kanan with Abroad.
Yep.
Right now, we had Aldrin Boondock on as well.
Yep.
Y'all are just giving us Filipino content that like we don't have here in the States, man.
Been out here. Yeah, we've been out here. There's lots. There's the movie Scarborough. There's the movie Islands. You know, I think Toronto. You know, Toronto got next. You know, like
yes.
we got next for sure.
I love it, man. I just saw too. I was telling my wife because we're actually planning a trip up there. My daughter is a huge fan of Canada. Like when we had recently when we had to come back, she was like, I don't want to leave. Can I stay? Yeah. So we got mad love for Toronto.
Holler when you're here. Holler when you're here.
Oh, most definitely. I plan to now, especially with all the love now. But
Yeah.
y'all have a Filipino festival that I saw coming up soon. Like that, I
Yeah.
might be planning my trip to that because it
Oh my
looks like there's
gosh.
gonna be a lot of good food and just all this vibe right now. Mad love to y'all up there. Mad love.
Lots of vibe, no masks, extra gout. Yeah, that's what's happening up there.
So Romeo, man, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, this amazing
you.
new series. We
Yes.
just showed the trailer for everybody. I had the chance to check it out. I'm dying to dig into all the episodes.
Yeah.
How did this project start? Tell me when this germ of an idea first came to you, and you wanted to put this together, and then, you know, how just get me going on how this all came together.
Well, I feel like my oeuvre, my genre is kind of like telling stories with music. You know, my professional debut was in Miss Saigon. I was part of an R&B group. You know, we were signed to like Babyface's people for a development deal back in the day when 90s R&B was just called R&B.
Yes.
And so like it's almost like my first language is music. You know, it's the first thing that kind of I used to express myself. Then I got into feature filmmaking, and my first feature was a musical also. You know, I did a stage musical called Prison Dancer, which was also an award-winning kind of digital series. So I've done a whole bunch of stuff, but telling stories with music, I think, is really organic to our culture as Filipinos, Filipinas, Filipinxes, and for me, music has always been my first language. And in my sliding doors of life, I could have gone the direction of making music and music production and letting that be my life. Like my colleagues went on to like produce like Alicia Cara, and my contemporaries went off to do like the Justin Biebers and the BTS. So like the people that I kind of came up with, they went off and they did it. But I always had this ache to tell stories. And so right now is kind of like, I have three careers. I have a career as a director, and I direct stuff I don't write. I have a career as a writer where I write stuff I don't direct. And I have a career as a composer where I make music for things that I don't perform. And so with Topline, this is one of those projects. Like I get to do a project every 10 years where all three of them converge. And you know, I like to say that Topline is a musical done in the style of OVO. A musical done in the style of the Drake era of Toronto, where when Toronto became kind of like a center of taste making, kind of cool vibe, intersection of R&B, hip hop, and electronic music. I think that's kind of like, that's what Toronto is right now. We have The Weeknd, we have Drake, we have all sorts of artists, Dylan Sinclair, like we just have all sorts of artists, Daniel Caesar. So when I wanted to tell another musical, I wanted to do it in the style of the Toronto sound. And so, you know, when you listen to it, you have Don Toliver kind of influence. You have like all sorts of R&B, like modern R&B kind of influences, but to tell a musical story. And so for you who don't know, like as you saw in the trailer, a top liner is the person who writes the lyrics, writes the hooks, and tells the story of a song. So if Rihanna, Justin Bieber, whoever are going to make an album, they will rent out a studio, and then they will invite writers' camps to write music. And so I've been part of the top lining experience where you're writing music and you try to sell it to an artist. And for me, the idea of top lining, the idea of these storytellers of the music world is something that's not being explained and not being explored and not being showcased. And whenever we see a music show, it's always about somebody who wants to sing and be a star, but it's never about the people who create the music and write the stories and write those hooks that become the earworms. And so the idea of making Topline just kind of came out of my own experience. Kind of, what if I went that way in the path? What if I took a left instead of gone the right? Like what would have my life become if I just went into music? So I think Topline is me kind of expressing that part of me, expressing that part of my life, And then when you dig deeper into the show, it's a show about grief, and it's about a show about a Filipino family who's lost their matriarch and who's lost their mother. And it's a story about how do you find light in the house when you go through darkness. And for this series, music is the way. Music is the avenue to find light and joy and expression and remember the bonds that you have with your family.
Yo, if y'all ain't feeling that, man, something wrong with y'all. Man, I love it. And I personally can connect with it because much like your own story, you know, how like music was life through a lot of your life. I went and it kind of like you, although I didn't take it to Babyface like you did. I was in a boys quartet. I was in church choir.
There it is.
You know, I graduated in 96, so I'm an old head. So like we were singing Shilk, Psy, Jodeci, Boys to Men back in the day. You know. So that was my love. That was my first love before I became an actor, to be honest. Like I wanted to be the next R&B cat back then when R&B was R&B, did. Like you said.
When 90s R&B was just R&B. The thing is, you know, at that time when we were coming up, the Filipino identity was a baby. The talks of diaspora was non-existent. So where did we find kind of things in the zeitgeist that we could connect with? And it was Jodeci, it was Boys to Men, it was New Edition, and it was people who were singing ballads. Like we are a culture that because we're diaspora, because we've left, because there's all this trauma that our culture has endured, it is music that has become the balm, that has become the thing that soothes all the wounds. Like you go to the poorest parts of the Philippines and they're singing Air Supply, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like there's something about our identity that gravitates towards the expression or just the soothing of our pain and the soothing of our hardship through song and through ballads. And so, you know, like with her and with Olivia Rodrigo, there's like this whole new generation of kind of or Bruno Mars, all these people of like the expression of R&B, like hip hop took over. You remember when hip hop was the cousin that would jump on a chorus of an R&B song? It's just most like definitely. Come in, and then hip hop took over. But there's still the power of song, and I believe that music is the time machine. Music is this thing that if it hits you at a certain point of life, wherever you are, whenever you are, you hear that song that had that impact and it'll bring you back to that moment. And I do believe that music is both a fountain of youth, is a time machine, and it could be that thing. It's a marker in your life. If you're going through something and that thing, life intersects with a piece of music, that is forever. That intersection is forever. And so that's why I do believe in the power of the musical. And I do believe that, you know, there's Yellow Rose that came out, but like I believe that Filipinos, if we're really gonna, I think that our superpower is to be able to infuse music in our storytelling. And I think that's coming. Yeah, I think that's coming. And you know, like there are musicals, like the cinematic history of the Filipino cinematic history. There's musicals right from the black and white days. And so I just kind of been out here kind of trying to keep that musical tradition alive. And even for Canada, I'm like, good luck finding a better musical ever shot in this country. And, you know, and like, I'll put Topline up with anything Disney's doing. And I think our stuff is fresher and cooler because it's Filipino, because it's Toronto. Like, you know, I don't think it's corny. I don't think it's cringy. I think it's modern. Like all of our sounds are cool. And because Toronto is a bit of a taste maker of a city, you know, like Drake is the biggest hip hop star in the world. It's, you know what I mean? It's like he's the biggest. Yeah. So, but that kind of taste, that kind of sound, that kind of convergence of different influences that Toronto is, I just think that's why Topline, Toronto plus Filipinos plus, you know, the cast. I just think that Topline is something special, and I can't wait until we find an American partner. That's all in the works.
Oh man, yes, real talk. That was gonna be something I was gonna ask later on the line, but yes,
It's
like we
coming.
need to keep it
It's coming.
moving. Like
Yeah.
we need it here, and I need it in my life. But everything you're saying, man, I have to tell you, man, just from the bottom of my heart, real talk, like no BS. Just we're doing podcasts right now, but I love it. I love that vibe. I love that energy. I love that confidence. I love that swagger. That's what we need as creators, as filmmakers, as artists. You are a true artist, and as a Filipino, like I want our community to rise up and know it, feel it, and go for it. And you're that embodiment right now. Props to you, Romeo. Props.
Thanks, man. And I've been at it for a long time. I don't tell the white people how old I am, but like, but you know, with Filipinos,
Hey, that melanin keeps us young, man. That fish and rice.
The melanin keeps us young. And I remember seeing an interview with Prince, and he goes, "I don't believe in age." And then I said, "You know what? I fuck with that. You know, I'm age nonconformist. I'm Gen nonconformist. You know, like so. But what I do think that the time on Earth has given me is the experience, because you can't shortcut experience, and you can't shortcut mastery, and you can't shortcut lessons. And so you're kind of like, for me, Topline is kind of like me stepping into my power, and you know, I am a working writer. I am a working director in Canada. Like, I'm the only Filipino as part of the Directors Guild of Canada and the Writers Guild of Canada, while being part of the Musicians Guild. So it's taken me a long time to get here. Like for some people, they think it, you know, I just got here, but like, you know, you talk to Bay Area people and stuff. Yeah, I've been out here. Yeah. And even like, you know, anyways, I've been out here, and I just feel like there's this thing about representation matters, and, you know, all of this stuff, but I feel like the creators, we have to be intentional in what we want to present of our culture. You know, like I look at a lot of these film festivals, or I look at a lot of what's out there, and it's a lot of times what is showcased about the Filipino culture and Filipino experiences, the things that are traumatic, and the things that have victimized us, or the things that have oppressed us, and the things that, so like, you know, it's intentional for Topline to also be about joy, and also be about power, and also be about talent, and also be about being non-apologetic of your gifts. You know, like we're a culture of being nahiya, and like, you know, because so many of us are Catholic, this idea of the meek shall inherit the earth. So we've adorned ourselves with this idea of being meek, idea of being like humble, an idea of, you know, kind of like nahiya. And I just feel like, you know, when we have that, we also have to put the other stuff on. Like, that's why we need the Joe Coys. That's why we need the Olivia Rodrigos to rock out against it. And so for me, in my kind of corner of Filipino expression, I just want to like always highlight the talent, and I've been very blessed to help shepherd like really amazing talent and bring them some spotlight.
I love it. Let's go. I love this. I love it.
Go.
Let's fucking go, Romeo. Yes, sir. Woo! All right, brother. Ah, man, I love it. I love this. So you let's get back on Topline. So you created this amazing idea. You put together the scripts. What was it like selling? Were they I would hope that obviously by your resume, and they know you, you know, like you come up in this. So like you are the best person to tell this story. So did you find it difficult to get like CBC to pick this up? How was it after, you know, you laid those scripts down for them to pick it up to present it on CBC or whomever before, or what was the stumbling blocks on that?
The thing is, you know, for any young creator out there, when you pitch an idea, it's like you have to pitch the idea, why that idea is unique, who would be receptive to the idea, and why you're the person to tell that story, and why you're the person. And so for me, just even the hook, Topline, everybody I told about, I didn't even know that's how songs were constructed. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a top liner. So already I thought the hook was cool. And then when I said, but it's about a family who is grieving, and music being the way out of way through the grief for our main protagonist, they're like, that's a real story. And then when I express my own story, like in my own kind of like losing my mom, and then just how music was kind of like my way through, then it becomes personal. And like outside of Topline, I pitch and pitch and pitch. I throw ideas on the wall and see what sticks. And for me, it was like, here's a story about a Filipino family. Here's a world that's so cool. You could have anything from a hip hop artist to a K-pop artist, to a Justin Bieber artist, to a J-Lo type of artist. Here's a world that we get to play in. And it's for young audiences. It's for young people. It's aspirational. It's hopeful. And it doesn't shy away from things as serious as grief. And I just feel like none of the white people were pitching this, period. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see anybody else pitching this. Yeah. And so I think that kind of uniqueness, plus my background as a storyteller within musicals. So it was the first production company I pitched. They were in, and then CBC saw it and they were in. And the thing is, an idea is only as good as the way the idea is presented. So I presented beats, I presented, wardrobe looks. I had like a whole logline synopsis, character, season arc, episode. You know what I mean? Like, it's the case of the overperforming Asian person. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh yeah,
like nothing was half cooked in any of the meetings. Nothing was half cooked. And even prior to me doing that, like, I was looking at it as a young adult, like a YA novel. I was looking at it as a potential movie. I was looking at it as different platforms. But then I found this kind of platform, which is like short, episodic series that you could either binge, or you can watch in 2 halves, or you can watch in 10 parts. And so the medium I felt of this kind of digital series was the way I wanted to tell the story.
Dope. I love it. I also feel that like we have to overachieve in a way. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had the whole pitch deck together. You had the sketch,
You know what the stumbling block was? The stumbling block was? And this is what's always going to happen to us. They go, who's going to write it? I'm like, I'll write it, and I'll put it together, writer room. Who's going to direct it? I'll direct it. Okay, where are you going to get the music? And when I said I'm doing the music, people paused. And then I'd have to play something, because in their head, they're like, you can't do all 3.
Yeah.
You can't be a this, you can't be that, you can't be a that. But the thing is, they don't know what it is to be Filipino. They don't know, by nature of being Filipino, we're multidisciplinary. And by nature of being Filipino, we can adopt and we can adapt and we can take multiple cultures, we can code switch, and we can take you know what I mean? It's only because I've been on the earth as long as I have that I've been able to work at each of the art forms individually and master them. And then the white people think I'm younger than I am. And so they just think I'm a genius because I can do all this shit. But I've actually put the 10,000 hours in all of it. And so even for the production company, when they said, where are you going to get the music? I had to lie. I had to say, I'm going to work with the best producers, which in my head, like my partner, like, I'm part of a group called Ala Una, and we were formerly known as Datu. And like my music production partner, like, he makes a living selling music to Apple. Like, when you see a new watch come out, when you see a new computer out, like, that's his thing. Like, he's a producing master. And so I thought I was going to rely on some of my friends, but then I ended up just doing it myself. I know Ableton. I got a Splice account. I can make things. And then when I played it, they're like, oh my God, this song's so amazing. Who did it? And it's only when I was able to play something that I said, I'm going to be doing the music. Because prior to that, it just sounds a little foolish. What you're going to write, you're going to direct, and you're going to do. But I think the biggest block was to make people believe that I can actually do all 3, because I knew I can do it, but it's just not a normal thing.
Dog, I feel this in so many ways, because that's exactly where I'm at in my mindset and all the 20 plus years I've already put into this industry. So I have to ask you on the flip side of that, then, let me flip it a little bit, because like, I adore this right now. This is my mindset. That's my motivation. But at the same time, I've also learned, especially like in the last month, because certain things have been popping off, blessed, but I got to learn to pull back, because that's also fucking, excuse my language, fucking up my energy in certain respects.
Oh yeah.
Where I do too much. So with you, and like you said, you had so many hats on this. Did you feel that at all?
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't just working on Topline. Like after the Topline shoot, I directed Canada's longest running comedy. Then I came back and I did an Apple show, like a sci-fi Apple show as a director. And this is my first like big boy director show. And then I came on and then I started co-show running a really popular dance show called The Next Step going into season 8 while finishing Topline. And so when you're talking about like, how do you protect your energy and how do you, no, like I'm depleted. I'm depleted. Like I have to meditate, I have to meditate every day. Like I do my best, but the thing is I've worked hard to work hard. You know what I mean? I've had big gaps between projects. I've had these long where nothing was happening and I'm just working a day job and I'm just manifesting, dreaming, grinding. So I've worked hard to work hard, and so when it all started happening, it's just like this karmic kind of thing that the hours that I've been putting in and not stopping, it started coming. And so like this has been the busiest time. So I was doing Topline while I was like, there was a time I was working on 3 shows of all budget levels. And like, if you were to talk to the 90s R&B version of me and say like one day, like, or if you were going to talk to me when I was like working at restaurants going, I just need to make my first film, which is Lolo's Child that we're talking about. Yeah. Like that one day, those hours that you're racking up in experience will eventually karmically unlock opportunity. And will you be ready for the opportunity? So it's like, I could have fucked up all of the projects that I worked on if I wasn't ready for it. So like right now I'm like, tomorrow's the last day of my shoot of this current project, which is day 40. And it's like day 103 of a writer's room while promoting Topline. It's like, you're asking, it's like, how are you not spread too thin? It's like, I'm like a mound of rice with just a little bit of adobo sauce, trying to like.
So what's your number one rule of self-care when you can't? So, well, what do you do in the midst of it? Because you have to exercise some self-care.
Yeah, like water and sleep. And
water and sleep.
No weed. Water, sleep, no weed supplements. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
okay.
Yeah, the thing is, because if the body's not working, the mind's not going to work and the creativity won't flow. And this is, I think, the problem of Filipinos. Like, I feel like we put our mental and physical well-being second to our work grind. You know what I mean? This is intergenerational. We have high blood and we have like inflamed joints, like intergenerationally. So, while I'm working hard, I always have to make sure that I'm like just trying to be intentional with my own body. Yeah. But it's not always realistic. Like after Friday, then I'm taking a break and I'm going to go acupuncture and
there we go. Yeah. I'm all about massages. Silence.
Silence. Yeah, I'll go days without talking. Like I can do all that. But it's one of those things like, I think it was Pharrell, like, anybody could plant seeds, but when it's time to harvest, who's ready to do the work? And right now I'm harvesting. Like right now it's like this is, my first professional job was in Miss Saigon in 1993. So I'm aging myself. So that's, what is that? 30 years ago. That's my first professional job. And that was the biggest. And I've wanted to be a filmmaker for like, my first feature film is 20 years old. And I'm only getting paid a sustainable and abundant paycheck as a director, but this is 20 years after my first film. So, again, I've worked hard to work hard. And so we're here.
I feel that, brother. I feel that. Whew, mad respect. All right, so you get the blessing. You're running with it. You told them, you sold yourself. CBC. It's now streaming, y'all, on CBC. Tell me about putting together this immaculate cast.
Oh my God!
Let's show some love to this beautiful cast, brother.
Okay, so I gotta say, if you don't have a little bit of belief in serendipity, and if you don't have a little bit of belief in destiny, then I think you're missing out the magic of creation, you know. So Serena Fiel is our lead. She never did anything before. Like, and when we put the audition out, I saw every Filipino, Asian, Chinese, whatever, come through, and here was this untested, hadn't acted on camera, and she just had magic. Serena Fiel, like, she just had magic, and like, I cast her not off of a proper acting demo, but off of seeing like her doing a high school play on a shitty YouTube. And I'd seen everybody, and I couldn't. There was nobody was quite that combination of awkwardness, of magic, of empathy, and who had a voice. You know, a lot of the people who are performers, they have that kind of musical theater voice, or it just sounds slightly too trained or too whatever, but she just had something raw. And I'm like, that's the sound. So Serena Fiel, I found her ate her name is Martina Ortiz, Louise Ortiz. She sings the national anthem before every Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs hockey game. Like, she's like a Whitney Houston singer. And so when like the show revolves around these two sisters, Tala and Gabby. Tala meaning, you know, goddess of the dawn. Gabby named after Gabriela Silang, warrior. Anyways, the ate and
I love those nods to our history up in there. That's
dope. Man, there's enough. In the show, there's lots of that. And so the whole series revolves around these two sisters. One, the bunso, the younger one, who's allowed to dream, and then the ate, who is not allowed to dream. And so like the dynamic of those two sisters is the core of our show, and they're both mourning the death of their mom. One expressing it through music, and then one not giving herself the time to grieve because she has to be the ate and she has to take care of the family. And so those are our core. That's our core. And then there's a father named Nico Garcia. He's an actor that I've worked on multiple projects, from Rolling Longanisa to Prison Dancer to all sorts of things. And then we found these amazing, because the premise of the show is they're making music for incoming music stars. And so we found amazing people. Jeanette Claudette, look her up. Jeanette Claudette is just like probably one of my favorite vocalists. She was a recording artist. And then this was her first acting role. We have a guy named Cass Cray, who's like a musician. We have a guy named Jae Kim, who's like a Korean kind of like social media star. We have a guy named Clarence Jura. Like, all of these people are musicians who can act and not actors who can sing. So like to keep the world authentic, we just I stacked it with people who can really do the thing. And so I feel like, you know, there's sometimes there'll be one cast member who will be slightly off or not as good, but like everyone, like, I feel like it was like, you know, I'm looking at your Marvel, like everyone is an X-Man, like they all have a special power. They all have, you know, and they're all good. And what happened is collectively they make the show just like they make it more powerful.
Beautiful. I love that. That's dope, man. I can't wait to watch this. Like, I feel this
you're
story.
Watching it tonight, bro, and then you're gonna text. I'll send you the link, and you're watching it tonight. You're gonna text me when you're done.
Real talk. I love that. I can relate with the story, but because again, like I said, I grew up wanting to be a hip hop, a R&B cat / hip hop, because I was all about the hip hop too. Have that Cisco flavor, if you will.
Of course,
because you know how like he spun out of Drew Hill, but But as Filipinos, you know, it's like they pressure us to be like, with this character, pressure to be a nurse. I was pressured to be a lawyer, doctor, all of that. And even though I had scholarships for my writing and my music in high school, they gave me scholarships. But my parents were like, it's so expensive, this, that, and the third. And because my father was military, which is insane, right? Like, you'd expect college, but it was tradition with him. And yeah, there was like a comfort there. So like go military and
Well, our generation is a generation that did not have predecessors. Our generation is a generation that didn't have people who were able to not only make it in front of the camera and make it on the stage, but like ours is a generation that we didn't have the people behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like Chad Hugo is our generation. You know what I mean? Like, so with every one Chad Hugo, there's 20,000 people who didn't get to live it out, like, and who never got to do music professionally, even though we all took piano, we all sang at our family things, we sang at the debut, we sang at the Sweet 16, we did Filipino folk dancing, we did Filipino Student Association night, we did this, we did this, we did this, because arts is in our culture, but is art's gonna be a sustainable living? Which
it's a hobby, not for living.
It's a hobby, not a thing. And so, you know, like I went through that. You know, I went through the how are you gonna make a living? And even in my own family, there were like musicians in the family who went to Hong Kong from the Philippines, and then they became alcoholic, and like stories that did not end good, you know. And so so it's no wonder that our parents would feel that, because there's no template that's out there, and there's barely a template now. Barely. It's not like, you know, like, yeah, we have her, but she's like, what's your favorite food? Oh, lumpia and pandesal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not down home yet. You know what I mean? We don't have the like, yes, we will claim her. Her mother is Pinay. Yes, we will claim her. We will claim Bruno Mars. We will claim whatever. But there's still, the template is barely there. So like it's so ours is the generation that I think that enables the next generation to really make the breakthroughs. And so even for me, like, I'm making a living in the arts, but like for me, my rubric of success is like, how many people am I gonna lift to their next place? Or how many people can I like offload what's all my knowledge? How many people am I gonna like bring up so that they can take it further? You know what I mean? Like, that's now I'm past burning. Like, yeah, I want people to fucking know I'm the dopest. I want white people to go, oh my God, Romeo's fucking, he's a monster.
Hell yeah.
There's that part of my ego, but most of it is like, now I know there's a vocation in what I'm doing, or I wouldn't be given the blessings. If it was all just self-serving, it wouldn't be coming to me. So so for me, it's like I'm just trying to like help push it a little bit further for the next generation to kind of keep it going.
Hell yeah, let's go. That's where I'm at now. And if that's what pandemic taught me personally. Sure. And so when did this, when you were you writing this, did this occur during the pandemic, or was it a little bit before?
We shot a pilot we shot a teaser to get the money in the first year of the pandemic, which was scary. And then we shot during the pandemic. I wrote the music last year, February to March, while the pandemic, while I was in my pajamas. Like, the music doesn't sound like the music of somebody who's composing in his pajamas and not leaving the house. You know what I mean? Like, fortunately, I was making a living writing. So I was just at home making music. And like, because it was pandemic, I was looking at like tutorials from 16-year-olds on how to make a beat sound like this, how to make an 808 slap like this, how to do this. And like, these are tutorials by children. You know what I mean? But like, I had nothing else to do. Like, I'm in a pandemic. So like I went into the lab for the first, like, I went into the lab in a real way to do music. And I came out of it with like 14 songs for this show.
Dope, man. You are a monster, bro. I love it. I love this vibe.
I'm a monster. And you know what?
And that's how we got to be, bro. Because a lot of us aren't as self-confident like you are. And like what I'm trying to imbue to my people, like, we got to be confident and know ourselves and shine that light and bring people up. Like, a rising tide lifts all boats. That's like been my motto like the past 2 years now.
I'm with you.
Bro, I love it, and I thank you for it. And that's what you're doing, man. And just I love Canada right now with Izzy with Abroad and what you're doing. My friend Brian Abalos, who's part of Abroad, who's one of the writers, and I know he a lot of stuff he's doing. Carolyn Faye over there.
Oh yeah,
my boy Chavi de Guzman, Toronto killing it right now. Alex Malari, man, y'all are killing it. I love you guys.
Yeah.
But
amazing.
yo, it
So
just
holler when you come, when you and your family come, we'll break bread, eat carbs,
yes,
eat pork,
yes,
and and chop it up for sure.
most definitely. But I love it, and dude, thank you from on behalf of the Filipinx community. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you're actually, let me get that question in. What has been some of the praise, or have you gotten some feedback about it thus far?
Yeah. There's just yesterday, the hardest white gatekeeper cis male, like the hardest critic. His name is John Doyle. He is the one that everybody who puts a TV show up in Canada is scared of, frankly, because he is a gatekeeper who is not an easy win over, and he called our show a triumph. And he's that kind of critic that makes the industry pay attention. So, and first there's the layer of like all of the film critics in Toronto that are all unanimous, like, oh my God, where did this artistic community come from? But like it's kind of like it's the text that we're getting from our people who are watching it with their children. Those are the ones that's like, oh, I watch it with my kid. We were both equal. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's the Gen Xers with their Gen Z or children. Like we're getting a lot of that kind of feedback, and that's kind of like that's important. But we need the John Doyles to make the industry pay attention.
Yeah.
But also I know it's dope. Like, so like I don't need the validation, but I do need their reach and influence. But
yeah, exactly. I love what you just said. I don't need their validation, but we do need to
we need them. We do need them. We're still not there. We don't have Filipino film critics. We don't have a lot of people doing critiques like in pop culture and stuff. We have some. We have Dino.
Yeah, shout out to
Diaspora.
Dino.
But there's not a lot, and because I'm in Canada, like even less. So I can't wait until we're in the States, man. I can't wait until we find our partner in the States, because I think Filipinos are gonna like really fuck with it.
Hell yeah. I'm already fucking with it, and and it's just off the trailer and just your energy. I feel it. Yeah. Yo, so I was gonna say something else, but I just remembered. I don't want to ask this. So we obviously Wraps episodes are all recorded, dropped, streaming, all available now on CBC. And you're finishing up this other project, but do you already have that season 2 idea if this continues?
Man,
like the overachieving Asian that you are.
Well, the thing is, there's two things, right? There's shopping this series to be like a bigger budget version of the series.
Okay.
So the thing is, this was a smaller budgeted show, so I didn't have a lot of executives and network people kind of in on it and messing around. So like what everyone sees is the true vision.
Mm-hmm.
But then we can always shop it for more money, bigger episodes, longer season. So there's a version where Topline becomes like a TV show, a TV show that has the big budget and has a longer season, but might have a bit more hands in it. And then there's one where I just stay at this kind of budget level and keep it auteur, and keep it undiluted, keep it Filipino, keep it whatever. And so there are ideas for season 2. And part of me is like, I feel like I told a perfect story in one season also. So
I feel that.
You know what I mean? Like there's a beginning, middle, and end. It tells a story about grief. And this is the thing that I needed to pull out from my own life experience and articulate.
Okay. So
what a season 2 would be, I still don't know, because it's like, I don't like, and of course, like we have a writer's room, we have characters that people love. And so those characters can start living, and it doesn't have to be so from my experience. But there is one version of season 2 where she goes to the Philippines and top lines for a bunch of Filipinos in the Philippines. It's the Balikbayan story, but I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm speaking into existence. I'm just saying it because I think it's cool, but I don't know. There's a multiverse of season 2s. I'm just not quite there yet.
Okay, cool. Well, whatever happens with that and all this other energy that I know is also brewing in your head, all these other creative ideas, man, I'm a fan, brother, and I love your soul and the energy. And I've been peeping it from the sidelines, and it's truly a pleasure to finally, meet virtually. And then I look forward to hopefully making the physical appearance.
Yeah, I've been standing the ShoPowSho already for
mad
a
love.
while. So yeah, so this is, I think, projects are always a way to also start some new bridges too, So I think let's start building together. Let's the boats are rising.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. I love it. Romeo Candido, y'all check out Topline on CBC. Yo, man, I have to have you back. Like I said, I want to do the Romeo Candido story, like the regular versions of ShoPowSho, where we spotlight and tell that amazing tapestry. And that's what, when I was bringing up, when did this start because of the pandemic or whatever, when I was asking you that's how ShoPowSho was born. I don't know if you caught the very first episode and then how it's been growing since then. It's just, as a filmmaker like yourself, we've been playing the sidelines. And what energy you were telling me was just like, I love how like you've become the pinnacle. You're where I want to still be, but I've been in the background producing on the side, but not to the level that you're at. And I feel like now I'm starting to get into my time because of the confidence and just everything you said. So it really hit home with me. So I really appreciate you for all those words.
Amazing, bro.
But
amazing, brother.
Yes, man. So that's why I was like, if I couldn't get like my Lapu Lapu story to me, which is our Black Panther, let me at least tell the little stories of like cats like yourself. Like I had Diana Paragas from Yellow Rose. Tell the creators right now their stories through this ShoPowSho, at least in some fashion, and then or hopefully inspire and educate others. So I thank you now for becoming part of this ShoPowSho tapestry.
I'm so happy, bro. Thank you.
Be involved. So mad blessings to you, y'all.
Thank you.
Most definitely, y'all. What are some of your Twitter socials? I'm gonna have it in the description below.
Everything. Romeo Candido, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Romeo Candido. Everything is one name.
There you go, y'all. So if you're driving, don't crash the car. You heard it. But also when you get it on the YouTube, it'll be in the description. Follow, share love, man. Hit up my man. Check out Topline. Romeo Candido. Mad blessings. Mahakita, brother. I love you. Yeah, man, bro. Y'all. Thank you for tuning in. It's been another ShoPowSho. Your boy, the legend Kuya P, Twitter, TikTok, IG, of course, ShoPowSho, and at the NRW. And it's Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. We're out of here. Check out Topline now, y'all. Get done with this. Head over to CBC. Check out that Topline.
Thank you. Hey, what's up? I'm Romeo Candido. I'm the creator, director, writer, composer of the 10-part musical Topline. Today, we're going to be talking Topline, being Filipino, making things with Kuya P on the ShoPowSho.